Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Hi to all.
Hello.
Please say hi in the chat. Please comment, ask questions, make us feel less alone if you can in any way. Today with us, we have our lovely Kalaivani, or Vani for short.
That's
Really
much
happy to
better.
have her here. So, all of you who know her from her many projects, come say hi while she introduces herself to the people who might not know her.
Thank you, editor. It's a pleasure to be here to join you both. I've been I would say I've been following you for a while now. I've watched every episode, and it feels so great to be part of this episode. And thank you again for inviting me. So, as you said, to those who don't know me, I'm Kalaivani Pallavan Raja from India. I'm from a city called Puducherry, which lies along the east coast of South India. It's a famous tourist spot here in India. And coming from a very orthodox family background, I was actually almost housewife for 10 years, I would say. I was part of our family businesses, but that was not something which I was very much into. That was mainly, taken care by my husband and his brother. It's a joint family. So I live with my in-laws mainly. It's an extended joint family, I would say. It's my mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law, and the co-sister and all the kids. So I was really busy with all the family commitments and all that sort of thing. So just to feed my brain at times, I used to, take part in few tasks related to our family business. That's how my life was until 2020. Thanks to the pandemic, not offensive, but the thing is, it really favored me because our business was completely shut down. I know that's not something which I can celebrate because we had huge losses, of course. But indeed, it was a point where I could reflect on what I know and what I can do and what I can learn and how I can use that time, because kids were at home, schools were closed, our offices were closed, and almost everything, right? So that's the time when I was kind of looking into various options because right from the beginning, right from my childhood, I was very much inclined towards teaching. I always wanted to help others, especially sharing knowledge because I cannot keep anything inside. I always say that, I feel my brain is so small because I cannot store information, but I always want to share it out. When I learn something new, I want to tell that to at least 10 people. So it all started, the experimenting thing started with my own sisters because I always tell them, okay, you were the rats in my lab. I first started my experiments with them. I assisted them throughout their schools and then even during the college. So that's how it all started, and that's how I discovered my passion for teaching. And whoever I met with, whoever I helped with, they say, okay, there is something in you, Vani. Even when you tell this or you explain something to us, it seems so simple. So that came something, just out of me. It was natural. I did not go for any training at that time. So during the pandemic, as I said, I was trying to get myself certified so I can say that, okay, I have this certification, I can do this for you, because those who don't know me will start trusting me only when there is something that is, added to my profile, that I am so and so certified. That's how people recognize you, sadly. That's how it all started. I signed up, I did CELTA, and then I was looking for jobs. It was about 1 or 2 months, I guess. I was simply posting and trying. I was just applying to everything that I saw on Google, just sending out, because that was the very first time that I'm kind of crafting my resume. And trust me, I did not have even a resume until then. I finished my graduation back in 2009, and I'm applying for my first job in 2020. So that's when I'm getting ready with my resume. So I was kind of Googling and researching. And as I said, the lockdown period helped me because I had plenty of time to research and find samples and, kind of come up with my own. Of course, my sisters were helping me along. They were already in their own jobs and doing all that. So they were helping me with, okay, this has to be like this and like that. So it was like giving and taking, So that was fun. And finally, I landed up with Bridge Education Group in Chile. That was the first time I encountered a foreigner. frankly speaking, because I have not crossed India's boundaries. Boundaries. I mean, I'm here since birth, so I've not met any foreigner, or I've not even spoke to anyone like that. So that was my very first interview with a foreigner, and I am really thankful to her. Even now, she is one of my contacts on LinkedIn. I keep sending her New Year wishes or Christmas wishes and all that. Kata, it's you who started my journey. I mean, you trusted me, and she got me into the team, and that's how it all started. Yeah. And today, I am a business English trainer and a mentor teacher as well. And I'm helping other novice ESL teachers to get into this field, and also those who are already experienced, but even then, if they want to learn something more, or they want to discuss, or they want some sort of support, I'm assisting them. Yes. I think that was a long introduction though, but tried my best. Thank you.
It was a perfect introduction. I can see it really, you really explained it all. One thing that springs to my mind is you said there is this city you're in is quite a tourist populated. Tourists come and see it. So how come you didn't see any foreigners there?
I did see, but I've never, had a chance to meet with them
Oh,
or to speak to them. I've seen them, of course, just like how you watch movies. It's like
yeah.
at
So,
a
so
very
you
far
didn't
distance.
communicate with them at all.
No, not at all.
Oh,
I hardly visit. The thing is, we locals here, because it's so crowded on the weekends and things like that. The time when we go to the beach is around 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Go for a walk, just stroll the sand and come back home. So it's just family time mainly. And
mm?
our business is also that kind of a style, because by the time my husband reaches home, it's almost 9:30 or 9:45. So if he
Oh,
finishes his dinner quickly, and then we just go out. So yeah, we don't get, I mean, there's not enough of chances, I would say, to meet people. And I
oh.
was
So,
very
so
much bounded to my family and
uh-huh.
the home, of
So
course.
it wasn't that much a problem with communication, or that you had any fear with communicating with foreigners, which you started with someone
I
from
did.
Chile.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yes, of course. I mean, to be frank, yeah. The first student I had, it was, thank God it is an online class, because if it was a real life, you know, the brick and mortar setup, he could have seen me, my hands were shivering, I was sweating, and I was feeling like my feet is turning cold. Everything was happening, everything that could go wrong. But it was just the first session, I would say, and luckily, my first student, he was so kind. And the first thing I learned from him was the Spanish pronunciation, because he turned out to be my teacher. I called him, "Hi, Jose," but he said, "No, no, no, that's not Jose, it's Jose." But the spelling was Jose. But he said, "No, no, that is Spanish pronunciation." So that was the first thing that I learned from my student in my very first class. So that actually sparked another thing. So I started researching about Spanish pronunciation and things like that. So I had a lot of Spanish students, in fact, mainly from Latin America. So that's when I started researching about the pronunciation and how it differs and all that. So it was really interesting to learn.
Great.
So what helped you was the actual student
Absolutely,
teaching you a
absolutely.
thing or two.
That's how I pick up things, from whoever I meet and whatever I see. It's okay, there is something to learn. I strongly believe that no man is perfect. Right? We always get to learn something from everyone that we meet. So that was the first thing. So he gave me the idea, okay, Vani, research a bit more about Spanish pronunciation. So yeah, that's my homework for this weekend. So that's how it started. It was fun, actually.
That's a lovely story. We have one person saying hi so far. Nagamai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hello. Thank you for joining and watching. And Anna is here with us as well. Anna is saying, I had to learn that Jose Maria and Maria Jose are two different people.
True.
Okay. So
I'd
from
say
no
even different genders. I'm not sure, but
Maria Jose, yes, I
Sounds so.
believe
Yeah,
so.
it is. It is. Yeah.
So from zero contact with people outside of your kind of comfort closest
True.
circle to the world suddenly.
Yes. And recently the count has reached around 60 countries. And I had posted that on LinkedIn as well. So I have
Wow.
a separate Excel sheet where I keep adding when I meet a new student from a new country, And
That's
on
amazing.
a fine day, I was like, okay, it's already 60 countries. I want to make it a century. Even. Let's see.
You didn't make a
It's
map
fun.
from it and started just crossing the countries all around the
True.
map.
That's
Oh,
true. That's
it,
true. It's fun. I
That's
was just
great.
curious. I mean, just to know more about their culture and the background mainly. So when they say I'm from this country, the immediate thing that I would do after the class is to locate it on the map and see what is around it and how I can relate and link. So that was an interesting part.
Reka is saying hi as well. Hi, thank you for joining. So, what would you tell people then who are terrified? And I think there's a lot of English teachers here, potential maybe teachers, potential students who might have that fear as well of leaving their comfort zone and saying hi to the world.
True.
Apart from the community helping you and your own students, what else has helped?
The simplest thing is nobody can help you better than yourself, right? So don't wait for the perfect moment. Just start with whatever you know and learn along the go. That's the simplest thing I would say, because it's always the first thing, that the first step that is going to haunt you. But once you are in it, you know how to dive and how to go with the flow. So it's always the learning on the go that helps. And don't keep waiting for the perfect moment. It's never going to come, and you'll never be convinced that, okay, I'm ready, all set, I mean, I'm fully prepared. That moment will never come. At least for me, it has never come. So it's always better to start with whatever you know and be open to learning. Accept that you are still not expert, you still have something more to learn, and be open to learn. That's it. As simple as that.
Be curious and be open. I love that.
True. Yeah.
You mentioned that circumstances forced you into that first step in a way as well. And you knew yourself as a curious person and somebody who likes to overshare their knowledge a bit as well. Was there anything else that helped you do that first move and take that first step?
Absolutely. My connections helped me. As I said, my sisters were already working. So through them, I actually got to know that there is something called as business English, frankly speaking. Until then, I did not know that there is a, whole new department of ESL that is called as business English. Because my sister was working for a corporate company and she used to get those CPD sessions. So she had a trainer who used to come to her office and give her the business English classes. So on a fine day, I was actually doing an assignment which was actually given to her as a homework task. But she had no time to do that. And I was just helping out when she was getting ready to her office. So that's how I actually figured out that there is something like this. And I understood, okay, this is my true calling. So maybe something I can, learn more about it and see if this works for me. So through her, I contacted her mentor or her trainer, and that's how I got to know what is this all about and how should I get into this field. So what kind of training I need or what certifications I need. And yeah, that's how it started, thanks to my sister Viji, if you're watching this. So she was the one who started this journey, in fact. And that's how I started kind of connecting the dots. So from there I got another friend called as Ajay. So he introduced me to another teacher who is actually an ESL teacher. So she also guided me how to start with and how to start applying for companies and where to find all that. So a lot of people helped me. I would say there are a lot of mentors, in fact. So at every stage I had someone whom I can, ask, okay, what should I do now? What's next? Where should I go? There was someone who was kind of, uh, I really trust that there is this universal power. So according to our mythology, Hindu mythology, we call God, but you name whatever you want. When you deeply desire something, the universe will bring it. Universe will actually find ways to get it to you. So that's how I met these wonderful people, because I've always wanted to do something, and that's how God sent me, sent them to me actually. So at every stage I had someone or the other who was kind of motivating me, guiding me, and showing me the path. Okay, Vani, this is your way. Take this way, something like that. So yeah, I still feel it's a dream, I'm actually living my dream. But sometimes I really wonder, is this really me doing all this?
It is.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, it's you.
Thank you.
And it's a great force, what you said. It takes a whole village to get somewhere. So with all the help, you just need to reach out, and you will get the help to get better
Seriously,
at everything.
seriously. The first thing is you don't have to feel shy to say that I don't know something. Can you help me with this? Acknowledge others' experiences. There are people who know something better than you, and there is nothing wrong when you acknowledge it. So I never feel shy to ask for help. I think Edita also knows that. I simply drop a message. Are you free? I have a question for you. That's it. So if they are happy, of course, that's how we form our network, right? We know whom to reach out. So it's like how many brains you can tap on. So networking helps a lot.
Absolutely. And homework. I heard homework somewhere. So for everyone listening,
True.
homework can lead to great things as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because this habit of doing homework stops when we finish our school and, we are moving to the further stages, actually. But if you want to, kind of lead, and if you want to be different from, just like what we say, to stand out of the crowd, basically, you want to show that you are different, you have to do something extra. And that extra thing is nothing but the homework that you do. Otherwise, it is going to be a routine, right? For example, if you start as an ESL teacher or you're working for a company, you know that there is a syllabus, you know that there is a course book, and if you're teaching the same lesson again to the first student and to the 10th student and to the 100th student, you're going to repeat the same lesson again and again and again. There's nothing new for you. But when you reflect, on your learnings, because every learner is different, every classroom experience is different. When you reflect on it and you try to dig it a bit deeper, that's where you are getting a step ahead of others with you. So that is what you can learn and you can share. So that's how I started with my mentoring as well. This is how I was digging deeper into the concepts, or whenever I had a challenge in a classroom, or it could be the methodology, or it could be the learner himself, or it could be the timing, or anything that has happened. I was trying to find out ways. I was trying to reach out to people, and with all those learnings, again, as I said, I couldn't keep it with within. So I was sharing that with my colleagues, my friends, teacher friends mainly, and that's how it started. And the management recognized, okay, she's happy to share and she's happy to help teachers, and that's how I got my first um, promotion, I would say. But that was not actually promotion because I was still teaching. That was also going parallelly. Apart from that, these were some additional responsibilities I took up. So I started as a mentor teacher. That's how the journey continued.
Sharing, connecting, and doing homework. I love it. I think all of my students have signed off now. So, Darko, you can take over.
I wanted to sign off too when you started talking about homework. I don't like homework, but I'd say it's important. And what you love to do is not to ride through the homework, but to add some, let's say, extra homework to yourself, which exceeds the mandatory one.
Absolutely. And when you're interested in something, you won't feel tired, right? Would you? No.
Yes,
if
of course.
if there is something that you're doing as an obligation, or someone has told you to do it, that would be, oh no, I have no time, or oh, I have had back-to-back classes today, it's a long day, I can't do this, something like that. But when
Yes,
you are
and
really
homework
interested,
sounds a bit like this.
so let's change that, right?
It's
Let's not use the
tiring.
word as homework.
Yeah, perhaps the word is should be changed to something more fun.
Sure.
Challenge.
Why not? I
Let's
have a
assign this as a
challenge for
homework to the
you to
viewers,
for the
maybe.
next time.
Find a word that can replace the word homework. That's the homework task for everyone here. I mean, watching.
The
Challenge
enthusiasm just
task.
went down.
Actually, that reminds me of this quote by Nick Shackleton, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Learning is driven by the things one cares about. So if you really care about something, you will find a way to learn it, right? That's how you're driven.
Absolutely. Anna is saying, good morning, everyone.
She
I
wants
love
to
the
say
way she
she's
starts
still
it.
here.
Everyone. That's how she has written it. Lovely, energetic, in fact.
I don't think I gave it justice, but I can feel the enthusiasm. I think she's trying to end the homework topic as well, like Darko.
Thanks, Anna. We can just go move on.
Sure.
All right. Let's switch to something that we've put kind of in our title, and that's this idea of non-native teacher, non-native trainer, and that's connected to what you talked about, being a bit isolated and perhaps not being part of that typical, still unfortunately, idea of who an English teacher is, that white guy from Cambridge. So how did you deal with this at the start?
As I said, I was working during the lockdown period. The first thing that I worked on was my accent. The thing is, I was not trying to get a native accent. Of course, I can't. I believe that strongly because I wanted to just neutralize my accent. And that was acknowledged by my interviewers a couple of times, in fact. They said, "You don't sound like an Indian." Now, that was something which I was wondering. Okay, if you say an Indian accent, there are hundreds of Indian accents, there are hundreds of language in India, right? So I don't know which Indian accent they refer to, but they acknowledge that, okay, you have a neutral accent. So that's something which I was very sure that you don't have to have a UK accent or US accent, but if you are intelligible, it's enough. Because as I said, until we are into this, it will be kind of haunting, because you might feel that your work or your English will not be acknowledged by the rest of the world, which is actually not. There are companies which is just looking for a good teacher, someone who is really efficient at work, someone who can help their learner, reach their goals. And being a non-native speaker of English, the advantage is we have been through the same what the learner is going through. So we can understand from their shoes, right? So whatever they're going through, that's how we can establish that rapport. And we know how to show empathy. When they make mistakes or when they are getting something wrong, it's something that strikes, okay, that's fine. It is part of the learning. And that's how you give them confidence as well. So this is acknowledged by hundreds and hundreds of companies across the world. I was not aware of this, of course. As I said, I'm not an expert still. I was not aware of this until I started teaching for companies abroad. And even now, I get rejection letters. There are companies that are still looking for only natives, kind of, they actually shortlist based on the origin, like where you're based in. That's fine. If they are looking for something else, it's okay. That's their company policies. Let them do what they want. But there are people who will acknowledge you. And when it comes to English, we all know, and this is something which is talk of the town now. I mean, I can see every English teacher, every non-English, non-native speaker, uh, English teacher that's saying this. We have to move on, and the world is changing, right? Now we are mainly focusing on communication, and the main idea is to make you understand what I'm trying to say. You need to understand my message, not how I say that, right? So the accent doesn't matter, the origin doesn't matter. And when it comes to my students, that's because I have had this situation. I have had a group who started with me, and then they asked for a native teacher with the company that I work for. They said, we don't want a non-native teacher, we want a native teacher." So that really kind of, when I meet students, the first question I ask them is, do you have any meetings or something where you meet natives? For example, do you have to talk to natives in your work, let's say daily meetings or whatever? Unless there is a need, why should you practice the native English, as they say? Of course, if you have someone, of course, what you need to do is to train your ears, not your mouth, I would say. You have to understand what the native speaker is saying. That's all what you need in a meeting. And you speak what you can. Again, focusing on the communication mainly, transferring the message. So that is how it started with. I made sure that I sound intelligible to them, the interviewer or the companies that I was talking to. And of course, it comes with professionalism and how you portray yourself to the company, your commitment.
Would you say that business English is more or less standardized internationally and not like this? You need to have a native accent.
Not all the companies, but at least there are people who, um, in these days at least, they have acknowledged that it's not necessarily going to be the native style of English, but English.
No,
Let's
no,
keep
I
it
don't
as
think
English.
that it was by company policies, but generally, when different businesses from around the world speak to each other, does it need to be more in the native UK accent, or is it more standardized across the world?
Um, if I understand your question correctly, you're asking me if it is already standardized, or do you wish me that it should be?
Do you see as you talk with different people, and like you said, you learn you have students from around 60 countries. Do you see it as it is more standardized? So, not that it is some kind of standard, but do they speak
Um,
similarly?
Not really. I mean, they're not looking for that native accent particularly. What they're asking is for proficiency level. For example, if it's a beginner A1, A2, they want to move to B1, B2. They are only aiming on the proficiency level, not like the native accent. Of course, that might be their own interest. They might have that thing in their mind. I want to speak like British. I want to speak like Americans. But my next question would be why?
I love Australian accent.
So yeah, basically, if you are interested in something, that's different. But is this mandatory in your company? No. Then why do you want to learn that? No, I like it. Okay, fine. If you like it, then listen to it, practice it, and see if you can get it. That's it. But focus on communication. Now let's imagine a scenario like this. Let's say there is a project leader, and he has 5 to 6 members in his team, and if he's a very proficient speaker, I'm not going to tag him as a native speaker. Let's say he's a proficient speaker. He can use all the C2 terms, all the terminology, phrasal verbs and idioms and all that he can. And he conveys how and the details of that project. And none of his team members understands. What is the use of that communication there? He's not going to get his job done. So intelligibility is the thing that we need to focus on. You have to get the job done. And when it comes to business English, it's the task that you want to be done. So if you're able to communicate that to your team, and if you can get your job done, your English is great. That's it.
So, what is needed is clear communication, not that much of an
Absolutely,
accent.
absolutely, absolutely. And not even the proficiency levels, I would say. If a B1, B2 level of speaker can get his team do the work, it's fine, right? Why do you want to push him? No, I want C1 or I want C2. Why? When others are able to understand you, I mean, get better with that. That's enough. Because there is a big confusion between English proficiency and the communication skill. But these two are entirely different. Just because someone is C1, C2 doesn't mean they are a very efficient communicator. So intelligibility is again linked with understanding your audience, right? You need to know your audience, whom you're speaking to. And if you're able to convey your message in a way that your audience is understanding, that's fine. You are a great communicator.
Well said.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And you can be a native speaker and not be intelligible to your audiences, especially global audiences,
True, true.
and
And the statistics
and be
also
a
say
bad communicator.
statistics statistics says that the native speakers are the least intelligible people. So when there is a native speaker in a meeting, the entire team gets panicked because they cannot understand this person. I've heard this from many different students as well. When they say, because imagine there is an Indian team here. Now he's a senior software engineer. He's my student. He says there are 10 people in the meeting, and there is one man from US who is joining the meeting. And these 10 people are afraid. how they are going to present this project report or something to that one US person. The thing is, they are not able to answer his questions. They don't know what he's asking at all. Now, what do you think? The problem is with these 10 people or that one man?
Would you say it's because of the dialect?
Yeah, the accent mainly. I don't know. It's really unfortunate that the native speakers do not consider that they have to be more, kind enough to the non-native speakers. Why not slow down? Why not use those, um, complex terms, or because in the end you want to understand what is on the project report, for example, in this case, and you want your team to answer your question, right? So it would be nice if there is, if we could swap this, why not the native speakers be trained how to speak to the non-natives, because the non-natives are the majority. So it's the other way around, right? They need to be trained how to simplify and how to grade their language so that the natives can understand them.
Absolutely. How to accommodate for a diverse team.
Seriously, because in the end, it's business. And if your business goals are reached, that's what we all need. Why should the language be a barrier there? If they simplify, I know these, for example, in this case, right? If that person could simplify his language, the 10 members would be more confident to participate in the meeting. They would feel like, you know, more enthusiastic and really motivated. And they'll not be afraid of having the next meeting with the same person. So why not create that environment? That's what I really wanted to, tell the world through this meeting. Be kind enough if you're speaking to a non-native speaker.
Yeah. And think about your experience in your first language, because regional differences create issues there as well, right? For any Croatian person watching, somebody from Istria leading the meeting, if you are from, I don't know, Vukovar, it might be a bit difficult to follow with some Italian expressions and such, So you
True.
go towards the standard, and the standard in this case is global in a way, and maybe at a level where everyone can understand you, where you're not going into jargon too much.
Absolutely.
I think Darko, you were asking about, well, there's like a global standard, and my mind went to industry language immediately. And I know that you come
No,
from
no, no, no.
IT.
Actually, what I wanted to emphasize is exactly this: that perhaps even native speakers need to adjust to this global standard of English and not speak their maybe too fast or even kind of dialect that we all have in our languages. So to get more to this mixture of English, I don't know how to say it.
Adapt, basically
Yeah.
adapt, because it's going to be a matter of team and country you're talking to and the industry. I think industry is key here as well, and what your goal is, whatever it is. So I was just gonna ask you about IT English. I know that's your experience.
Yes, so I was a long time in IT, so I think that most, even natives, wouldn't, native English speakers wouldn't understand much of IT talk anyway, so that's true.
Yeah, we all need a
So,
translator.
so it's very industry specific.
For sure. And I think, again, relating to that, there is a bit of an advantage that we have as teachers and non-native teachers when it comes to our flexibility there, because you don't just learn English, you also learn IT English, for instance, from your learners, right? You have to translate their
Absolutely.
jargon as well.
Absolutely.
So you learn that flexibility in a way.
True. And that's the greatest advantage of being a business English trainer. You meet people from various industries. For example, Latin Americans, we have a lot of mining and oil industries. So they're mainly from there. And when you have those first few minutes when they talk about their work and what they did in their work day, so they come up with a lot of terminologies, mainly they use in that particular industry. And again, that's again, it's like food for thought. So my next homework is ready. Come on. research what is this. So it's really fun working with people from different countries. Yeah.
We're back to homework, Darko. You have to stop this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry again, Darko.
We need to call it something different. So
I know. So that
challenge is just okay word for it. Okay, you have a challenge after your talk with them to work on this new terminology.
true. Of
She
course,
didn't
every
understand
challenge.
it, so it needs to be called homework. Okay.
Now, when we say challenge to our students, they will know we mean homework. Darko, stop it. Stop translating. All right. So we talked about non native being an advantage in a way. What about this context here? You said yes previously to an audio show with me, and now I think it took you like 3 seconds and you said yes to a live video show. Where does this come from? What's your experience with this kind of visibility?
Picking up on what I said earlier, I've always had this fear to speak in front of the camera, and I know I'm not going to feel comfortable unless I start doing it. So that's how it all started. In fact, I remember my first interview that I had to submit was a recorded video interview. And you won't believe me, I had to re-record, re-record nearly 10 to 15 times. I was not comfortable to speak even 4 to 5 lines. Just let's say a basic introduction or something. I had to re-record again and again because I was not convinced with myself. I had something in mind. I wanted to reach that level, but I could never reach it. So at one point, I was like, it's fine, it's okay. Let me just proceed with this and let's see what happens next. And I was like, okay, this is the last try, Vani. You're not going to re-record again. And that really clicked. So when there is something that is haunting you, just start doing it and you'll feel comfortable with it.
Oh, yeah, I agree with this because um, people, when they start seeing themselves on camera, on video, they just don't recognize themselves. But this is who they are. And of course, there is a moment when you're just too afraid of the camera, and when you see yourself in that kind of situation, you see you look like this, and of course it's not good. Of course it's not good, but you need just to get used to it. So
Absolutely.
homework and practice. Okay.
True. Again, back to that. That's true. I mean,
But you did manage to send this interview in the end.
yeah, I did. And I
Okay.
got through. And they're like, it's good. The thing is,
And you got the
as I
job.
said, yes, of course. And
Of course.
that's how I'm working for British Council as well now. So yeah, again, connecting back, Darko, maybe you mute your audio or whatever you want. Don't listen to me for a few seconds. Because I remember the first workshop that I presented for teachers, when my teachers, the colleagues. So that was my very first workshop for teachers, especially. And in fact, I was afraid even during the teachers meeting that we used to have earlier. We used to have quarterly meetings or something, when we used to get all the company updates for that year and things like that. So we did have some breakout room tasks where we teachers were put in a room, and when other teachers used to speak, I was like, a step behind. I was just listening to them and just answering if I'm asked something. Again, that was only the first meeting that I was hesitating. But from the very next, I was like, okay, this is it. Let's give my best. That's it. The same happened with the workshop. The first workshop, I panicked. That was only for a few seconds. But then I got comfortable with the camera because I was not looking at myself. Let me give a key there. I mean, it's a tip or whatever you want to call it as. Don't look at yourself, because we are very much inclined towards it. When you have an online session, we are very much inclined towards looking at ourselves, right? which is actually something which is going to hinder. So better not look at yourself.
Yeah, that is one point why you shouldn't do it. The other point is because you basically look like this. You look at somewhere below, and you don't see the person like
Absolutely.
directly in the eyes. So this is the problem. You
And it
should
is
look at the
still a
camera.
challenge, right? For example, now I want to look at you and speak because I'm looking at the screen now, but my
Hmm.
camera is here. Now, if you see, this is how I can give you an eye contact. But
Hmm.
I have been trying this for a while, but I don't know why I'm not comfortable looking into the camera and speak because I cannot see you, I cannot see your facial expressions. And the same happens in classroom as well. Because I've read this in many articles and, you know, again,
Okay.
one of my homeworks because I was preparing how to teach online, how to give that
Okay.
online I mean, the way we look, in the online classroom. So I
Perhaps
was
I can
going through
help you
all
with
these
that.
tips. Sure, Darko. I would love to assist.
Just set your camera before your screen. So there is a camera, and behind it there is a screen, and you see the people behind the camera.
Yeah, that
So
sounds
it's
like a
not
great idea,
on the
but
monitor or below the
how do you
monitor. Yes.
how do you do it? I mean, I have my laptop, for example. My
Okay.
laptop is here, and I have an additional camera because I was not happy with the laptop's inbuilt camera. So I have
Yes.
an additional high definition camera right
Okay.
above.
Great.
So now how
And
can I
it's
fix it?
visible.
Yes, of course.
So no, I think it's visible. It is a better camera. That is what I wanted to say. But you set the camera before the screen. So uh, let's say, okay, screen is here, and the camera is in the middle, before myself and the screen. You understand it now? No.
Oh, I think she froze because she's probably moving things around to try them out.
I think she just was what? Was it understandable at all? I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Did I
yeah, but
explain it
the
correctly in English? So,
logistics. Yeah, you
oh,
explained it, but the logistics might be different in every circumstance. So now we might have kicked the router or something
yeah, we
while
have
doing
the
it.
we have this surprise. We had this surprised look of Vani. What? Okay.
Okay, Darko breaking stuff, not just in his
I
own
always
studio, but
tend to break stuff.
are you
Hi,
back?
Vani, you're back. You muted, or your microphone is not working.
Maybe switch the microphone because we can
Yes.
see you properly now, but we can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you yet.
Give me a second, please. Trying to
Oh,
fix
Oh, yeah,
something
now
here.
we
you're
can
back.
hear you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen, right? In an online interview,
Nah,
to lose
it's
your
not the
network.
worst thing.
But
We had
Don't
much
worry.
worse, much. Never mind.
Worse, yeah, worse situations. Were you
Murphy's
trying
Law,
to
that
move your
reminds me.
camera and did you knock
Not
something?
really. Not really. I was wondering if Darko kicked me out of the meeting. I was talking too much about homework. It's like, Mani, come on, it's enough.
No, no. So I was just trying to explain it to put the camera in between the screen and you,
Makes sense, yeah. So I
so
have to
you
buy
can
a
see the
separate
people
stand or
behind the
something.
camera.
True. So maybe I
Yeah.
need a stand or something like that so that I can fix it in
For the
front.
camera, yes, that is a possibility to
Yeah,
put it directly on the stand,
great.
or even just to hang it a bit below in the center of the screen.
So that's going to be my weekend homework, Darko. Thanks for that.
Yeah, your challenge, homework, whatever.
Yes.
What I wanted to ask you, anyway, in the beginning, you said there is a multi generational home that you're in. I was wondering, how do you get that peace for online meetings all the time in
I should
such,
thank
I'd say,
my
busy
family.
home?
Yeah, I should thank my family for that. They have been very supportive right
Oh,
from the start. my co-sister especially, because my mother-in-law, she's about in her 80s these days. So I should thank her because she's not expecting me to do anything for her. She takes care of herself and also my father-in-law. So that is, which is again, benefiting me in a way. And it's my co-sister. I would say we are kind of twin. It's like one soul in two different bodies. She exactly knows what I'm thinking of, and I know what she's thinking of. It's like, we cook together in the morning. So we prepare breakfast, lunch, and trust me, Indian cooking and Indian kitchens, we have hundreds of items in the kitchen, and we take hours and hours to prepare. And mine is a very traditional family, so we very much stick to all those traditional kind of foods and all that. So we prepare in the morning. Just because of me, in fact, I changed a bit of my family routine as well, and they were so kind enough to adjust according to my routine. So we prepare breakfast and lunch in the morning. I send kids to school, so she helps me a lot. In fact, it's like, as I said, two bodies but one soul. So she prepares, and I know what's the next item she's looking for, and I chop that and I get ready with stuffs and I give to her, and she just cooks. And we share our kitchen duties in the morning. And once it is done, and then she takes care of rest of the things when the maids come and all that. For example, she attends to every calling bells, in fact, because I cannot get up and go when I'm in my class. The thing I
Hmm.
told them was, imagine I'm not here. Just kick me out of the home. So just imagine I'm not here. So don't, because mine is the very first room that I'm here, just next to the
Hmm.
main door. So even sometimes they might expect, okay, the doorbell is ringing, but Vani is not going to check. So that happens, right? So I made that very clear, because again, that might affect my professionalism, and I made things. So this is how it is. This is how I want to be. So don't expect me to check the doorbells. And that's how she takes care. And the same happens with my children as well. They know not to even talk to me when I'm in class, because when I'm looking at my camera
Ah.
like this and speaking to my students, I don't want to have this look all of a sudden, even to tell them get out of my room. I don't want to look or turn my head like this. So everything has been clearly set, like, rubrics to follow, and
Hmm.
they've been so cooperative. And that's why I have, reached this stage at least. And I'm
Oh,
really thankful for them for that. I
that's
remember
great.
she used to get me snacks, and for example, she gave me a banana a few minutes ago, like, Vani, because it's actually lunchtime here in India. She's like, okay, if possible, just have a banana before the live, before you go live. And so
Yeah, you
they're
should
lovely.
sugar shouldn't go too low. So yeah, and you
So
touched my sweet spot a moment ago. You start talking about food, so it starts to be much more interesting than homework. So what do you usually have for lunch there?
mainly
What do you
rice, and then
cook?
we have those rice with other. We call it a sambar, or the curries, as it is popularly known across the world, Indian curries, for example. And we always have a vegetable, and in my language we call it as a poriyal, which is, it can be baked or kind of sautéed for a while. So mainly we
Hmm.
have rice, sambar, and this, or sometimes we also have chapati, or otherwise called as rotis. So that's the
Hmm.
main food. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of biryanis. We do prepare biryanis, vegetable biryani, or it can be also
No.
non-vegetable, non-vegetarian, like adding meat to it. It's a very popular dish here in India. I mean, Indians are crazy for biryanis, I would say. Just like how
Okay,
barbecues
I'll
are.
need to look it up and try
Sure.
it. Try to cook
You,
it. Okay.
yeah, you should,
That's the
I'm
definitely.
sure there
spiciest
are not
thing.
many spices that I have here for it, but
True,
at least
true.
try it. Okay, this is not a culinary show, so we should just go to some other
Maybe we can have a
topic.
different one for that. About
Oh,
Indian
I'd love that.
spices. Yeah.
We have
Yes.
to balance the homework. But a biryani is the spiciest and the hottest thing I've ever eaten. I turned red.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that then. Okay. How much would you say this appearance on video in the video lessons does affect the students? Like you said, you try not to have them feel that there is somebody else in the room, or that you need to go somewhere, or that you are talking with your
Absolutely,
children.
absolutely. True, it's because that is something which comes as professionalism, I would say, the way you present yourself online. Because this is the least thing that they can see, right? This window. That's it. That is how you're going
Hmm.
to show to your this is the space where you can show your professionalism, right?
Hmm.
If it is a classroom, it is completely different. There are other things that you can pay attention to. But when it comes to the online mode, the least thing that you can ensure is to give this eye contact and pay attention, so that your learner has this confidence that my teacher is completely focused here. So she's here for
Hmm.
us and she's completely focused. And yeah, I would say that is one of the most important thing which can be categorized under, your professionalism as an online teacher. Don't be distracted to
Hmm.
other things. Of course, there might be emergencies or things like that. That's understood. We are humans. But otherwise, you need to set boundaries.
Yes,
So just
of
because
course.
we're working
And
from home, now I cannot place something on the stove and, start my lesson here and all of a sudden jump there and do some sort of things in the kitchen and come back. So which is why I ensure we finish everything in the morning. And by the time it is 10 a.m., it's ready for the family. And then I said my co-sister, she takes care of when, for example, my sometimes I might be in a class or a meeting when my husband comes home for lunch. So she's the one who serves food and everything. So that's how we balance.
mhm. Oh, well, that's great. And we had a short conversation before we gone live. You use a lot of virtual backgrounds to set that
True.
business look to the. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry, this live
And this was Marco, to be
application
frank,
doesn't have
this kind
virtual
of, to put
backgrounds.
someone on the spot. This was really, that made me like I was put on the spot because I was not prepared with this background at all because I had
Every
a few other
application has
options here.
virtual backgrounds, right?
Seriously, because I've been using Teams, Zoom, and all these platforms all these days, and of course I use. How did you change that,
How
editor?
do you do
Because I
that?
cannot. Oh my god!
I don't know that's possible.
Seriously, because I don't see that option at all here
Yeah,
at my
you
No,
end.
had
Adita.
it. I don't even know where I found it, but I know I found it in the
Ah,
settings.
Oh,
In
that
the
helps
settings,
much.
it is the thing is because it's
settings, and
not
then
coming up.
video, and then
Yeah, because
virtual background.
I did check all that. In fact, that was my homework before this meeting. The thing is, as I'm not using my laptop's camera, this is an as I said, this is an additional camera. So this device doesn't support that feature to add virtual
Ah,
background. That's the
It's
problem.
possible. Yeah. Or
yeah,
maybe because you're
it
a
could be.
guest in our stream. I'm not sure.
Not really, not really. It's the device
No.
actually. If I were using the laptop's camera, I could have used that option, in fact, to set the virtual background. So yeah,
Possible.
so that's
But
something
it
which can
wouldn't look
again
so
add
good.
to your professionalism. Thank you, Darko. So basically, that really helps, to show your professionalism. Basically, having an icon of your company as the logo, or some screen with your company's name, or at least something that is not distracting. So
Hmm.
it's
And
good
what do you
so that
tell
we
your
don't see the
students?
mess.
No. What do you tell your students? Do they have to have their cameras on too?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a must. It's a must.
So
And
if they're having technical issues, you just kick them out.
but
You're not fooling me that your video camera is not working. Get out.
actually you get to know them if they are really fooling around. You can have that kind of, your it just going by your guts. Actually, your gut feeling will say that when someone is really honest, because there are people who say, okay, I'm not feeling so well, I don't prefer to turn on my camera today. I would say, okay, that's absolutely fine. But if they have one or the other reason for every class, then that clearly rings the bell, right? No, this person is playing
Hmm.
around. So the thing is how you build their rapport. Once you make them comfortable, they are happy to turn on their camera. So
Hmm.
I just tell them, of course, in the first class itself, this is the least thing that ensures how I can understand you, or to see your face and the way your mouth and the way you speak. And if I don't see you, I have no idea whether you understand what I'm saying or you're really doing the task that I've given you, or it gives me no idea. And I actually tell that in a funny way. I tell them, I don't want to speak looking at myself. I want to speak to you. So please turn on your camera. So those kind of having that fun kind of environment, where they are really comfortable, so they don't feel
Hmm.
annoyed. I have students who really take classes at work. They might be, there are people who take classes on the go, and I tell them, please do make sure you're not driving. No, 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 I'm not driving. I'm just sitting behind. There is a driver. So while
Hmm.
traveling, so whatever it is, but they turn on their camera. That's how,
Uh, yeah. Would you say it helps also with their self confidence?
that's true.
Talking
Yes.
English, but also being on camera this way
Yeah, it
that
does.
you say
It
that
does.
they need to be on camera.
It does. So I give them an example. Now, if you're not ready to face me here, and how will you face others, when you want to speak whatever you have practiced here? So get used to this. And I also give them, as I mentioned before, I was having difficulty to record my own introduction. So I give them such tasks. When we finish a lesson or something, I give
Yeah,
them
we
a
don't
video
call it
task, right?
homework; it's task.
That's better, right? So I give them a task to do after the class, something based on the lesson that we did that particular day. So it's like, okay, turn on the camera and speak about this, what you have learned today. So that also trains them. Basically,
Great.
to face the camera and just be you.
Yes. Face that fear of looking at yourself in the camera and stop looking
Absolutely.
at yourself in the camera anyway.
True.
Yeah, exactly. So before we perhaps have some questions from the audience, and I'm sure Edita will have some additional question. What I would like to ask you, where can people find you? What is the best way to get in contact with you?
The only way is LinkedIn.
The only way. So you have no other thing. You don't answer phones, emails, nothing. LinkedIn.
I do answer on emails and phones, but that's the later stages, I would say.
No,
They
no.
have to reach out on LinkedIn, and then I share my contact email IDs and all that. That comes as
Yeah,
the
of
later stage.
course.
So this is the gateway, and I love LinkedIn. It has helped me grow, and as I said, the networking and visibility. It's lovely. It's a great platform, and this is the first tip that I tell my mentees, actually, those who are just stepping into this online mode of teaching and who are still looking for jobs. Do you have a LinkedIn account? That's my first question. If not, come on,
Hmm.
it's a time to have one.
Yeah.
So
Would you say it's
visibility
mandatory
matters.
for business because you teach business English?
um, I don't want to term it as mandatory, but if there is something which is similar or maybe something which is more efficient, I would really like to know. Maybe I should research more on that, Darko. But as far as I've seen, another terminology, right? You can use to research a bit more. Not, I'm not going to do homework on it. I'm going to research a bit more. But as far as I've seen in my experience, I would say this is really helpful. You must have one if you are really on the outlook of jobs or anything related to professional growth. If not something that you have, if you don't have anything to post or something, at least you learn from what others post. Or if you feel you're stuck at your career ladder, you have others, to take as an example. Okay, so this is the stage where I am now. You can see what people are doing after that. So maybe, okay, this is something which I am inclined to, or something that, so you get various ideas and you can choose what suits you or what interests you. So you need
Hmm.
examples, you need experts from the same industry. So LinkedIn helps, absolutely.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, me
you
too.
know
So if you're not connected with Vani already, please do and say hi to her because she always says hi
I would love
back.
to. Yes, that is also another tip I would like to add in networking. Acknowledge people when they are reaching out to you. Show that you are there for them. It just takes less than a minute to respond to a message, and you don't have to set aside, it's not kind of something that is going to distract. For example, I check my LinkedIn messages or whatever when I'm waiting for the student. Sometimes the students join 5 to 10 minutes late or something, so that's the time when I quickly check and reply to the messages and things like that. So this is what is helping me build that connection. And next time when I reach out to the same, asking for it, it might be related to any workshop or a webinar that they presented, or I also reach out to express my gratitude. Okay, I watched this workshop, I saw this webinar, and I found these tips from you that was useful. So that's how you build your network. And this is not something that I'm doing because I have to do it, because I love doing it. And that's what is giving this comfort, where I can reach out to people when I really want to know something more. So you don't have to feel shy, or you don't have to have those 101 questions in your mind whether this person will help you or not. If the person really wants, they will definitely get back and help you. If not, it's a lesson for you. So do not disturb. They might not be interested, or they might be busy with something else. So it's a time when you need to look out for someone else. That's it. A way to expand your network as well. Why take it as a barrier? Let's see that as an opportunity. Maybe you need to expand more. So yes, LinkedIn does the magic.
Reach out and say hi. I was going to ask you, like, if you have any final advice, but you are so full of wisdom. You're ahead of the game. You've done your homework. It's so. I had to put in that word in the end. You're so well prepared, Vani. It was really a pleasure to have another opportunity to chat with you like this.
Thank you so much, Edita and Darko. And I think this is one of the coolest interviews that I've ever had. I don't remember having so much fun with the interviewers in my prior interviews. But anyways, it's a great experience. Again, a new learning experience. And thanks for having me on your Seen and Heard. And wish you good luck as well. I hope to see more and more episodes of people who I can learn from. And of course, you have a lot to give to the industry. We have to give it back. It's our turn.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Vani. It was really great.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. Special thanks to all the viewers for joining us and supporting us. If you have any questions that I might have not answered during this, it's been 60 minutes. It feels, as if we just started. I really loved talking. That's how I am. So if I have missed something that you had in your mind, feel free to reach out, drop in your questions. I'll be always happy to answer you. Thank you.
We have a final comment from Rekha. Love to
Rekha
hear
wants the
about your
homework.
journey. Thank you, Edita and Darko, for a great conversation. Any homework for us?
Okay,
That's so
I'm
sweet
getting
of
out of here. Enough of homework. Bye to all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Homework is to say hi again on LinkedIn.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.